Hello everybody, Walter here. Welcome to the third episode of my second Let's Play series for Oxygen Not Included. Now in the last episode we started exploring the outer biomes of our Frosty Planet with two main goals in mind, finding more food and also the materials for our mini Hydra, which at the moment is already providing us with oxygen and a little bit of power. Now with our immediate survival somewhat guaranteed, it's time to work on some of the more annoying achievements, which are in this specific case the Locavore and the Carnivore achievement. So with that in mind, let's quickly jump back in the game and have a look. And here we are. Now since the last episode we have at least already one ranch going for 5 bloxes in total, but we need definitely more. And to get that going ASAP, we are going to need some incubators, which will happen in this area here. So let's start with a floor down here for white. Then we have another floor above that. We will also need a total ceiling above all of this, and then from this here jump to up, then to gap, then to over, and then we go down again. Down here we have another forward floor, and then here in this gap we have our water reservoir for the drowning chamber. Or I should say liquid reservoir, since there will not be any kind of water in there actually. And then we are going to need a little bit of a wall there, airflow tile here and here. Now take a door there and there. Another one of these here and the rest of the wall. Going to keep this open for the moment. Here I can actually dig down a little bit further for the moment. And dig out all of this here. Actually, I can even dig all of this out. I should also start digging out all of this here, except that part there, I guess, since I still need the pineapple bush. Now, for the most important part, we are going to need some incubators. So one there, one there, one there. They will need some automation, so we are going to need a cycle sensor, which goes up there, connects there, and then there too, and down there. They will also need power, which I'm going to grab from over here for the moment. They will be on their own grid at a later point though. And I am, for the moment, just going to prioritize getting the incubators in place. Now in the meantime, we can continue with some more planning. So 2 doors here, a door below that, and another door there. This will also where I'm going to store my slime and other sublimators. So that is where the storage bin comes into play. Up there I'm going to need also a critter sensor, and that will control both doors there. I'm also going to need a ladder here and also over there, so my dupes can actually reach that space. And yeah, for now, let's concentrate on getting those incubators in place. And there we go. So now, let's say we need one for the behemoths, and then the other 2 are for the Flox X. That should be enough. Oh, come on. Flox X, incubate. Now the setting, activation time will be around 40%, and then duration 15%. That is usually a good compromise. So, research is done. So we now have our advanced gates for our automation. That is somewhat nice, but I think our next focus will be our radiation research, materials science research. Since we are going to very soon need something, or several things actually, that require the 3rd tier of research. Okay, those I should actually set to priority 7, so my dupes actually get going with that. Then I should prioritize getting at least this floor here in place. And over here I should also maybe add some ladders, so I can even reach that pineapple bush with this here in place. Okay, this is all starting to take shape. So once I have that floor at least in place, I can then move those Flox X over. And that means I can also turn this here on. Copy my setting for 5 bloxes, and also copy my setting for 10 kilograms of pike apples for said bloxes. And here comes the behemoth egg, which means we don't actually need this one here much longer. So I am considering getting rid of this behemoth here in a more permanent way. Just so I get a little bit of meat products into the colony already. That might be something to consider. But for now, I'm going to leave it as is. We can kill it at any time. So, as I said, current plan is getting this here built and those Flox eggs out of this ranch here. So the Floxes, once they grow up, can actually lay some more eggs. And our first new Flox was just incubated, so the egg was apparently already quite a decent chunk ahead of time. So that is good. So we have already 4 Floxes in the bottom range, so almost full. So pretty soon we should start seeing this here actually producing meat. Which means it's, with all of this now in place, time to continue with the next ranch. Which means first step, similar to what I did with this here, is actually first digging this out and then putting in the floor so I don't have to deal with all of the debris that would potentially hide some of those eggs. I, for the moment at least, still need to manually remove from the enclosures. Now this third range here will follow the same pattern as the other two, with just one minor difference concerning the position of those central doors here. So those are a bit more to the side, and that should give us 21. That looks good. Now, just going to quickly copy the setup from above. There will be a different food item and critter in there, but the buildings are pretty much the same. Then our deodorizers, and just to make sure, 36 there. Okay, now we also have a printable waiting on us, so let's see. Iron would be good, but I'm also good concerning food at the moment, and I really need the next few achievements. This one here is the only one that's frostproof, and I could do with a decorator. It's not really necessary right now, but at some point we are going to do some decorating, so Maya, you're in. Okay, now let's start with priorities. So first of all, this one is actually going to do the decorating at some point. And in the meantime, we're going to go for some ranching. That will be the main job, and then just the normal stuff on the side, I would say. That looks good. Okay, then schedule. I think I'm going to keep our deco guy in the first shift. Then next up are skills. So let's start with Maya. So Maya is going to get some improved carry because that will be her main job for the moment. Then our diggers are now able to dig through super duper hard materials. That is definitely going to be useful at some point. Nisbeth is close to mechatronics engineering, so soon we should be able to automate stuff. And then improve carry for my chef. Okay, research is also almost at the next milestone. So for now, let's concentrate on getting this ranch in place. And the ranch is almost done, so let's set this up. 37. Although deactivated for now, I don't want to tame my behemoths at the moment, since I couldn't feed them actually. Then the minis and behemoths, 3 at max, and priority 7 for that. Okay, and where did you come from? Ah, hatched in there. Okay, let's move you over to this ranch here, which then is full, so that is good. And I totally forgot to set this up. Let's put those in there. And I also forgot to set up a bed for my new dupe, so might as well prepare a few more bedrooms. Up here. Just the ones I can probably fill in at the moment. So that has the highest priority, although I think my YouTube will have to sleep on the bed for a moment. Or on the ground. Okay. Research is also done. So we now can do some more advanced research. at least once we have set that up. In the meantime, let's research first liquid tuning and then the gas equivalent. And we also have a behemoth we can already put into our ranch down here. So at least we will get a little bit of reed fiber from that one. This is also being moved over. That is all starting to take shape quite nicely. Over here, how do I want to handle that? That is going to be an issue with the temperature there. I'll have to see how I handle that in a moment. But before I work on that, there is one more potential issue. Over here, this entire area, as you can see, is filled with carbon dioxide to the top there. And that means that there might be some kind of loop happening later on when materials are being moved from down here all the way up. Dupe starts to suffocate, lets it fall, goes up, breathes a bit, goes down, and repeats the cycle. And that would be a bit of a annoying issue. So I think I am going to do a little bit more of digging over here. And just dig out this part here. That should allow the carbon dioxide to just go over here. And at these temperatures that will quickly solidify into solid carbon dioxide, and then pretty soon this here should start to fill up with oxygen. Yeah, definitely going to work on that next. And that was definitely a good idea. Even my dupes took multiple trips up and down the ladder to just dig out this little bit of abyssalite, but yeah, that's already starting to show first results, so definitely a good idea. Now, let's have a look. Over here, the behemoth actually got sheared, so we now have our first few bits of reed fiber. That's nice. And we also... let's actually turn the reed fiber into something we have an eye on, as well as data banks maybe. So, then over here. This is now able to be set for Phloxes and behemoths. One at a time, please. And priority 6. And this is full, so we might as well get rid of it for a little bit of food for the next few cycles. Okay. Over here, this is getting annoying. Let me just quickly put in the proper floor, and those are no longer needed then. And then the next big focus is getting up, because this is where usually the spigot seals are. We got a little bit lucky with the one over here, which was actually pretty low on the totem pole. This is harvest ready. You know what, I might as well set these here to auto harvest. We could do with a little bit of nectar. And then let's start digging up. So those are our future floors, and what? Hit that correct height even. Nice. Then we have our wire. And then we can also put a pole all the way to the top, since we are likely going to need to go up and down a decent chunk of times. Okay, that is all starting to look pretty good. Food is being moved over to the kitchen, I suspect. And right, there's Locksack. As I said, at the moment I have to still do this manually, but as soon as I can, I will automate that process. But for now, let's see what we can find at the top here. And as suspected, this is where the nectar biomes start. There's even a satellite up there. That is going to be useful for research pretty soon. But before I dig up, I should probably also dig to the side here to get to the behemoth and those plume squash plants here, as well as the ethanol lakes. That is going to be very useful. And what are you? Let's see. Aluminium. That's going to be very useful indeed. This stuff. Let's see. Tile. Mesh tile. Polluted water. Sand. I think I know what that is. I don't think it applies actually to behemoths, but it's nevertheless a rather useful storage trait. So for now, let's make our way over here. And then I'm just going to dig out below the abyssal light as far as possible for the moment. And then we'll see what we can find over there. In the meantime, I also finished with most of the research for the moment, so I'm not wasting research time. I went for parallel automation. And we also have another printing. So let's see. Salt water I don't really need right now. The only dupe I'm really missing right now is a doctor. Not really a fan of glow stick. But whatever. Radioactive doctor. Something new, I guess. Okay, so then priorities. Obviously, doctoring, then life support, toggling, tiddying, operating, farming, supplying and storing. Schedule, I think that goes into shift 2. Skills. For now, just improved carry. And I think they are not frostproof, aren't they? No, they are freezing. Yeah, definitely going to need, once this is done, the textile loom over here. Might as well go for the home luxuries. So I can actually make use of my few reed fiber and turn that into a warm coat. Although, I should have at least some snazzy suits lying around, so might as well, for the moment, where is my doctor? There. Make use of that. And how is this advancing? 66 kilograms. This is not showing too much effect down here, although the pressure seems to be lowering already. Yeah, okay, it's having an effect, even though it's a bit slow. Good, research just finished. And that means we can go for the home luxuries. Now up here, yep, that is exactly what I was suspecting. So let's inspect that, and let's inspect that, and let's rummage so we get some more materials. And how do I get over here the easiest way? I think just going over like that. Take that out, take that out, take that out, and then just make my way over there. Yeah, that should work. And there is another ragged satellite up there. I think I'm actually going to prioritize this one over this one. So for that, I need to get up. And one here. Wait, it's the wrong spot. I need to go there. Then here. I can't place that. Then there. Yeah. Here, here, and here. Then all the way to the top there. I think I'm going to just get rid of this one. Then I can dig out that part. And over here, just going to dig over like that. And once I have a little bit of the mercury, I might actually use that to build stuff up here, since at those temperatures it's actually solid, as you can obviously see. So we might make use of that little factoid. Then I'm just going to add a couple of these here and dig that out so we can actually get over there. And that's our little glow bug there, huh? Nice. But for now, yeah, the main goal is getting access to this here and getting all of this here also dug out. Okay, looking at this, it definitely makes more sense to just go one layer down and then dig through here. That way I also get access to the plants here. Although, this might be useful to get up into this area there. That is a very confined spigot seal there, huh? Yeah, so let's just go one layer down. then I can start digging out of this here, I guess. And then it's going to dig straight over like that and straight up like that. And over here, I guess I'll have to dig a bit more diagonal. Like that. Okay. Then over here, I would like to get all of this here in one pitcher pump, so I'll put that here. And this space here should be big enough for at least this lake here, and then once that has been drained at some point in the future, I can just dig over to this side and then drain the other one. So these can be carved. And those here should be all set to auto harvest. Might as well also go for this one there. I can put that in place. Yeah, that is definitely the better way to go about all of this. Research is also advancing, so we now have the textile loom. So that might as well go over there. This is under stations. We'll need some power. And with that in place, I can then order up the production of one of those worm coats here, which took just about the amount of reed fiber I had available. But with that, we can now probably clothe our doctor. So that already left behind this nest suit. And if we speed this up a little bit, we should very soon start to see this chilly surroundings debuff here to disappear. And there we go. Okay, perfect. Now, let's have a look. We have some more Flux X, it appears. Then we also have some Fluxes down here. So that is more food for us. There's another egg, apparently. Yep, that's all. While we're on the subject of food, I also stopped making frost puns because, well, at the moment we definitely have enough. And I really want my dupes to eat more meat products. We also have now mercury available, so we should be seeing some mercury up there. Okay, let's grab that and move that into this future drowning chamber. So this will be layered liquids, so mercury at the bottom and then ethanol on top, which makes for a very healthy mix, let me tell you. But I am digressing a bit. To get the ethanol in there, I'm going to need some bottle emptiers. Those will be somewhat temporary, but for now I am going to need them. And yeah, now let's have a quick look at the top there. So we have some more digging to do over here, although it's progressing already quite nicely. And research finished. So we now have this. And I think next, let's just finish with this research tree over there a bit more. And now I think it's high time I started on tier 3 research. And let's actually build this out of mercury. Because at those temperatures here, it's actually, well, as you can obviously see, a solid. Now, this will need some radiation. Right there, as close to the satellite as I can go. Then I'm just going to redirect this all the way over to here and then down. That fits. Now, this is going to need a decent chunk of power, and since I can't guarantee a constant stream of power and would lose radiation progress with that, I'm going to need a power buffer. And that can also be made out of mercury. Now to power this, I'm going to add a transformer there, and then connect it to the normal power grid over here. Then with mercury wire all the way over there. I also need some automation, and for that, let's also go with mercury. So I'm only producing those rat balls when they are actually required. And I almost placed that not get the wrong way around, huh? Okay, that is now fixed though. And with the last reflector in place, I should be able to start this up. So let's set this down to 52. And that should lead to 50 in there. Okay, so now research is done and we can start the next one. And for that, I think I'm going to go for the steam turbine next. And once I have that, I definitely need some plastic, so the polymer press comes after that. Okay, now let's have a quick look around if we can't find anything useful in the now uncovered area. Let's see. An iron volcano. Okay, that is definitely going to be useful for steel production later on. Anything else? Okay, building. I suspect the entrance is on the other side, so we might as well try to get up there and see what we can find. There might even be a few more geysers up there if we are lucky. We'll see. Stick it out. Then put in the deodorizers. As I said, I'm not a fan of having polluted oxygen in my base. So. Now, quick look to my food production. Okay, needs to be cleared out a little bit. I also managed to print out some algae earlier, and we have found some sucrose. That's nice. Okay, there is an egg in there somewhere. Yeah, over here. Put that in. Yeah. How is it looking in skills? My researcher. Yeah, let's go in astronomy. How long does Nisbet take? Oh, we're almost there. We can very soon start to automate all of this here. But for now, we might want to upgrade our base a little bit. So, let's start with some airflow tiles. In our walls, so we have a better gas transfer. Just like that. That way, there is no danger of having, for example, hydrogen collect in those rooms. That might cause issues later. Quick check. It feels a little bit like it is getting lower. At least the pressure is decreasing. Okay, that's good. So, then I will definitely have to heat this up a little bit so the mercury actually melts, but it has a slightly lower priority. I think the next project, and likely the last for today, is upgrading our bathroom. For that, we are going to need insulated tiles along the entire thing, so we don't get pipes bursting due to the water freezing. Then we will need the refinement, water sieve. Over there. Then, on the plumbing, we are going to put 2 lavatories. And let's make them out of the cinnabar ore right there. And then under medicine, 1 wash basin there. So, this here will be later on be reserved for my bionic dupes. And in those 2 here, I will later on hot swap with another few things. Okay, then we are going to need some pipes. Let's see. That, and then over here. Through the floor. Just to avoid the pipes melting or breaking. Not melting. So, then in here. And over there. I need an overflow mechanic. So, let's see. Put that in there. Then first there and then into my reservoir. This refills the pipes. And for the moment, I should also put in a pipe there. So I can actually fill this here with clean water in the beginning. Okay, this is starting to look pretty good, actually. And once I have those two pipes here in the actually correct spot, I can close this off at the back there. And now I can start to get rid of my old bathroom internals. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Research, by the way, has also finished, so we now have the steam turbine. And that would give us in just a moment the next achievement. And there we go. A royal flush. Replace all the outhouses and wash basins in your colony with lavatories and sinks. Nice. But as I was saying, last part for this step here is replacing the two sinks. And we also still need to fill this with water, so let's just connect over here. Since this is not going to flow, we're just going to disconnect for a moment. And that hopefully will reach all of the users. So that should be enough. Let's connect again over there. Yeah, this is starting to work. I should prioritize these here, since otherwise my dupes, when they are using this here en masse, might actually not use the sink, as my researcher just tried to do. So yeah, that is definitely the highest priority over here. And why are you sleeping down there? There's a perfectly functional bed up there. Oh well, whatever. We also have some solid nuclear waste, so something got stuck or struck by a rat bolt, but the search is advancing quite nicely, as you can see here, so that is not too much of an issue. Okay, so bathroom is in place. Food production is ramping up, and we might actually want to get rid of the two old ones in here, since this one here is very soon about to hatch, and we also have another one down here, which also very soon will lay an egg, likely. So yeah, we are starting to get a decent chunk of meat products into the colony, and we are starting to get ahead with the Locavore achievement. And the Locavore achievement is also already advanced quite decently. Okay, that's all looking good, but at some point we are definitely going to need more dupes. But that is something for a later point. And with that, we've reached the actual end of this episode here already. Now, in the next episode, I am definitely going to try to automate my ranching setup, and if I can manage it, also tap into one or two geysers. Specifically, I'm interested in the metal geysers, since that will be very useful for future infrastructure. Nevertheless, I do hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like, share, and comment if you did so. It really helps with the algorithm. Now, independent of that, I wish you a nice day, and well, see ya.